You know, in life, you have to be always open to new things. That means also for me that everything is possible. There is no limit. My early feeling of speed I can remember is skiing. This was my dream because I love speed, I love moving. To go fast, it gives you a little bit of adrenaline because speed means a little bit of danger. And I think I like it. I like it. Rallying is a race against the clock, against the elements, against yourself, and you have to be the best.
3, 2, 1,
When the marshal waves the flag, you are in your very own bubble.
85 mètres.
It's just up to you, your skill, your bravery. Can you exceed yourself as a person?
I like the challenge of controlling where you can go in the limit with this, I will say, instrument, where it will become dangerous, where it will become that I cannot control.
You just need a slight little mistake and can end up literally in a catastrophe. So it can be very unforgiving, very, very unforgiving. But that is the beauty of it. Unless you take risks, there's no progress in life.
When Michèle came on the scene, all of a sudden, the rest of the rally world were thinking, we got an issue here. We got a big problem.
They had to try and stop this woman from beating them.
Rally driving was a sport for men, not for women. I don't like to be the first man to lose against a girl.
I love challenges. Somebody is saying something, you are not able to do that, bam, I will show you that I am able to do that. You know, if you play to win. I grew up in south of France, in Grasse. I have a very lovely childhood with a lot of friends around and my sister, and I was full of life, ready for any action. Maybe the daredevil of the family?
She really had this special energy that was really unique. I mean, she's never tired. You could ask her anytime, let's go there at the end of the world. Okay, when do we go?
I started to drive, I was 14, and I wanted to move my father's car. And with my friend in the neighborhood, they pushed me. I start the ignition, and the car started, and I started to drive. At that time, my father was in the kitchen. He could see his car going. He said, "Oh, somebody is stealing my car." My father was quite strict. When he was saying something, you listen to him. I think he wanted to set some barrier, to keep me in the rail, because he knew my character. For me, a car was a way to be free and to do what I wanted. I had a fantastic life, partying all the time, dancing. I love dancing. Sometimes I could have my father Porsche 911. And when I was coming back from dancing early in the morning, I was always looking for twisty roads and trying to go fast maximum. I never wanted to be a rally driver at the time. My friend Jean, he had a nice car. He said, I am going to Monte Carlo for doing a rally. And it's the first time I heard about motorsport competition. He saw me so excited that he asked me to co-drive for him in Monte Carlo. I said, oh, of course, why not? New adventure, you have to go. And wow, fantastic. I have to say, he was a little bit in love with me. But I was thinking only about this opportunity, not about him. I was 22. I even didn't know what was a rally. I discovered everything.
Unlike most motor racing, rallying is not a head-to-head confrontation on a closed circuit. The road to rally victory is much more complex. Yet this complexity and the supremely difficult conditions taken as a normal part of the sport lure a galaxy of drivers all over the globe.
Rallying was born, I would say, beginning of the 20th century, with Monte Carlo since 1911. It was an amateur sport. Anyone could take part. Well, I mean anyone who had a car, which was not anyone. And Monte Carlo became a real competitive event from the 1950s and 60s.
Day or night, the rally drivers press on to the limit of their abilities, crossing countries and continents, competing over thousands of miles in a few days.
It would have been a lovely picture in the right weather.
It was an ultimate challenge against the elements, the mud, the rain, the snow, etc.
As drivers hurtle through snow or mud-clogged curves, their co-drivers call out a description of the road ahead and possible unseen hazards from a set of pace notes.
Michèle started as a co-driver, and it was in 1973, the first year of the World Rally Championship. Maybe it was fate.
I felt a big responsibility. A good co-driver cannot win a rally, but you can lose the rally because of the co-driver. I remember that it went well. I was very happy. For me, it was a great experience because I was doing something important. And I was excited, of course. My friend Jean was happy with my work after Monte Carlo, so we continued together. And my father was following us all the time.
On one event, her father arrived to watch, and he saw the tires on the car were bald and clearly quite appalled at the state of the car that she was competing in.
Immediately, he said, "You are able to be behind the wheel. I know you like to drive." He said, "I will buy you a racing car. I will pay for 1 year. If you are good enough, you will continue. If not, you will stop."
Comme je sentais qu'elle était disposée à ce sport, je l'ai aidée, je lui ai proposé d'acheter une voiture pour voir cela donnerait.
My father, in fact, loved cars since young age. 1933, he had a sportive Amil car. I'm sure he would have loved to drive in competition. Unfortunately, the war happened and he was captured in the north of France. He was a prisoner of war for 5 years. And of course, it has changed his life completely. I think my father, through me, realized what he has not been able to do because he would have loved to do that. I didn't know what I will be able to do. But at the same time, something is saying, yes, you will do it, you will do it. This was my first challenge.
Over 2,000 women and a few men supporters of women's liberation braved a bitterly cold wind on their march through central London.
Women, join us!
The banners they carried announced their 4 main demands: free round-the-clock childcare centres, equal education and job opportunities.
À l'appel du MLF, le mouvement de libération de la femme.
It was a great time for women, I think. The beginning of the big revolution and feminist movement.
C'est le temps de l'amour, le temps des copains et de l'aventure.
It was full of color, you know, short skirt, topless on the beach. I mean, everything was free. I mean, I didn't feel any barrier or anything. But it's true that you didn't see a lot of women on the motorway driving the car. It was still, you know, reserved for men. And of course, it was a sexist word at that time. Motorsport was a man's word, a little bit like today, huh?
The drivers, co-drivers, the engineers, the mechanics, they were all men.
Women were never taken seriously, but my father didn't think about that at all. It was really incredible what he proposed me. He had so much trust on me. When you realize afterwards, you think, oh, really, he built up my career. It's the first rally. Of course, you are nervous. I remember my foot shaking on the throttle.
Trou. 20 mètres. Droite 85, long. Ouvre à fond.
Donc la première fois que j'ai vu Michèle, c'était en 1973. J'étais journaliste à l'époque. Elle était jeune, elle avait 22 ans. C'était une très belle fille à la ville. Mais quand elle rentrait dans une voiture, ça devenait une autre femme. Elle était tendue. Ça n'avait rien à voir.
My boyfriend, Claude, he was supportive but not interfering, not, you know. I was sure I could trust the advice he will give me.
Elle a commencé par s'aligner dans 2-3 petits rallyes où elle s'est fait plaisir sans prendre beaucoup de risques. Ensuite, il s'est trouvé qu'au fur et à mesure, elle faisait des temps meilleurs. Elle était bonne. Donc ça l'a encouragée à continuer. Son père était ravi.
Michèle started her career competing against women, but there was not a lot of competition among the ladies. Very, very quickly, Michèle understood that if she wanted to progress in the sport, she had to compete against men.
There is only 3 sports where men and women can compete equally: motorsport, sailing, and horse riding. When we were in the car, nobody can say it's a man or a woman driving. You know, you have to take the line, the shortest possible, always to go the fastest. You need to have the top level to fight with. So until you are matching with men, you know where you have to go.
Vite, j'ai senti qu'on attendait de voir ce que je pouvais faire. Et puis petit à petit, on s'est aperçu que je suivais pas trop mal le mouvement. Et petit à petit, on est arrivé même à battre certaines autres alpines de mon groupe 3. Et petit à petit, on nous a regardé avec un œil plutôt méchant, quoi, c'est sûr.
In the second year, my father wanted me to go to Corsica and challenge myself in a bigger event because Corsica was part of the World Championship.
Anybody can do rallying. This is the amazing thing about it. As a privateer, you can enter your round of the World Rally Championship. In rallying, you can put yourself up against the best in the world. I'm not sure how many other sports you can do that.
Corsica is on asphalt, and it turns and turns and turns. You never stop turning the wheel, changing gears. It never ends. Physically, it is exhausting, and your mind has to be clear. You have the drops, so you cannot afford one mistake.
It took nearly a week, starting in the morning, doing all day, all night. I remember I was mixing coffee and Coca-Cola to stay awake and fighting all the time at the limit. But it's fantastic. It's really an adrenaline that is unbelievable. And when you are in competition, you know, you feel all the power of the car. You feel the G-force, the acceleration, the braking. All your muscles are very tense because you are at the limit of what you can really do to control the car.
Quand on voyait arriver Michèle, qui venait de terminer une épreuve spéciale, elle était en nage, rouge, essoufflée. Elle sait que physiquement, elle est inférieure. Donc il faut qu'elle donne encore plus que ce que donne un homme pour arriver au niveau de l'homme. Son challenge, c'était de battre les hommes.
The car was going very well in Corsica. I won my group. My father was proud and me too, and a little bit surprised.
People were amazed. She had just started 1 year before and finished in the first 10 in a World Rally Championship. That was something very special.
En fait, elle a gêné le monde masculin. C'était une intruse. Ça n'a pas été supporté par beaucoup.
They were convinced that Michèle must be cheating somehow, because how could she possibly beat them?
Her car must have more power or whatever improvements that are illegal. So they asked the technical scrutineers to check everything.
I knew that between my father and my mechanic, it was no way they could be cheating for anything. It was scrutinized and checked by officials from the FIA. They declared that my engine was conform, so the rumor stopped immediately. Of course, you have a little smile on your face, huh? Sometimes you don't have to speak, you know, just to prove. What was important for me is that they accept me and that I was treated like a driver. This has been my motivation all the time.
In 75, she has been incredible at Le Mans. It was an all-female crew. They won the category, mainly thanks to her drive. And that result attracted the sponsor of ELF.
The higher I was going, and less women we find in the championship. 77, I was driving a Porsche 911, and I had good results. That people were thinking how many men I have been sleeping with, you know, to be able to get this car. At the end of 77, I needed more sponsors. Of course, I didn't want my father to continue paying for me. If you want to climb the ladder, you have to progress. Then I was called by Fiat to do the full French championship. They were proposing me becoming for the first time professional driver. But I think if I had tested the car before, I would have not accepted. Physically, it was very, very difficult. No power steering, engine in front, very heavy car to steer. So difficult, you know, so painful. My hand was full of blisters. You didn't have to miss the gear, if not you have like an electric shock in your hand. I have suffered so much, really. I struggle a lot with this car. This car was for a woman, the limit where you can endure. But I think it's with this car that I learned how to go faster. I was enjoying life all the time between rallying, drinking, smoking, and partying a lot and having a good time. My father didn't give me any advice. He was just there all the time. But still, I remember once he came close to me and he just showed me the result, you know. He said, "You are 8 in the group." I understood immediately, you know, it means you have to do something. After this rally, I decided to stop completely smoking and drinking, except champagne.
The World Rally Championship, it just got bigger and bigger. Hundreds of thousands of people would go out and watch this spectacle, a real people sport. This is the amazing thing about it. It's a car that you can buy in the showroom. And it's all about selling cars, brand awareness. Win on Sunday, sell on Monday.
The manufacturers really understood that people could relate to this kind of motorsport in a way that they never could with Formula One.
The Escort is what I'd call a driver's car.
For the man in the street, he wants to see his car winning.
And this is the kind of mistake that's always going to be the co-driver's fault.
When I got the first message from Audi, a phone call, but of course at home nobody was speaking English. I just understood the World Championship, four-wheel drive, Audi, and that's all. I thought it was a joke. When you ask what is Audi at that time, French people were answering washing machine.
When I started at Audi, Vorsprung durch Technik. That was our slogan, and that was okay, but the image was not. We have had problems to sell our cars.
Audi was secretly developing in a quarry somewhere near Nuremberg this car which had a turbocharger and four-wheel drive.
And then I received the official letter. Audi is producing the first vehicle with a four-wheel drive ready for the World Championship that Anu Mikola was engaged for as the first driver. At that time, Anu Mikola was one of the best drivers in the world.
Hanu was a household name in rallying, and Hanu immediately saw the potential.
Nobody could teach me how to drive it because nobody had before four-wheel drive cars, so I had to find the limit first.
Nobody had ever designed a rally car like this before.
It was brave, it was bold, it was unheard of.
Our goal was with the four-wheel drive and with the rally scene to get the image like BMW and Mercedes. A director from Audi Sport was a marketing specialist. In his mind, what Audi want to have is attraction for the public. He was thinking, oh, there is a very good French woman driver, even if she will not win, to have a woman in our team that would increase our image.
I was not naive, you know, I am realistic. Of course, being a new manufacturer in the World Championship, you know, a woman will be more publicity maybe for them. But, you know, for me, World Championship, it's the top of the discipline. So, of course, the answer was very, very quick, yes.
Finally, we started a new team. It was very difficult because there was no team, and all the mechanics who should be specialists for the rally, we took from the production line. Can you imagine?
I have to find a new co-driver. It was clear they wanted to have two female in the car. I knew Fabrizia because she has been driver in Italy. I knew that she changed from driving to co-driving.
To be in a winning team is my life. I need to be in a winning team. And Michèle was competitive like me.
The first time we arrived in the workshop, I think the mechanic wondered, what are those two women doing here, you know? Then they started to see that we were quite serious. We click together very easily, and we had the same objective, the same view. She spoke perfectly French. Oh, she was fantastic.
When we started in '81, we were the only woman team in the World Championship.
It was a very sexist world. If you found women there, usually they were on the podium handing bottles of champagne to the drivers. You didn't find women in positions of power within the team.
Yeah, it was male-dominated. Everybody was laughing. They have got a woman. They also were laughing about four-wheel drive, how stupid they are. They will be the loser.
You think it's bad? I am to be nervous.
Michèle was a surprising choice for Audi in 1980. This driver had never really competed outside of France.
I must admit that I had some doubts that she could be as quick as the quickest.
The World Championship is really a different world. I was like an outsider.
Là, elle a eu des doutes parfois. Est-ce que je suis capable de la conduire? On vous donne une voiture d'1 million d'euros entre les mains. Hein? Est-ce que je vais être à la hauteur? C'est angoissant. Hein?
My dream at that time, I think, to be able to reach Anu's level, to show them that they were right to choose me.
In the 80s, World Rally Championship was 12 events all over the world. It was at night, it was at day, sometimes several thousand kilometers.
It's literally the fastest person down that stretch of road. Each of those stretches of road, those stages, are combined, and the person with the lowest accumulated time wins the rally.
There were several manufacturers competing, 20 professional crews fighting in all conditions.
Every single team boss, their main aim is bring home the Manufacturers' Championship. If after that we can bring home a driver's title, brilliant, we've got the whole lot.
Early in the 81 season, it's fair to say it was a bit of a disaster in terms of results.
The team was new, the car was new, so it was a learning year for everybody.
The early events were very difficult for that car. There were mechanical problems. In terms of technology, it was very complicated. And then on top of that, there was a huge expectation from the watching world that this four-wheel drive car would deliver. You know, if she failed, you know, all of the men were there waiting just to point the finger and say, told you so, you know, she wasn't up to the job.
Suddenly, I was in the best team with a new car and the best driver in the world, Anu Mikola. So what you do? I just have to fight. And it's what I did.
It's always towards the end of a season, San Remo. Michèle's getting better and better and better. The car is getting better and better and better.
San Remo was very difficult because it was starting with 1 day on asphalt. Then it was 2 days on gravel. Then it was one more full night on asphalt.
The first stages in asphalt, and for sure the Quattro was not the easiest car to drive on asphalt.
The first leg, we were not good enough. I was not really happy with my driving. It's not easy to be faster. It has been always a fight between me and the car. You try to find the perfect line. You have to brake later. Concentration, motivation. That was the focus. To find everything who helped me to go faster.
In Sanremo, gravel stages was really fantastic. We knew that the car was very fast and we were really flying and enjoying what we were doing.
The car has so much grip and so much speed that sometimes I felt my eyes were going out of my sockets. When it's working, it's just fantastic. It's like if you are taming a wild animal. So I went better and better on gravel, and then I took the lead. To see all this big list of top names behind you was really impressive. But okay, it's not finished. You have to finish the race.
The shared ambition in that car was incredible. You know, Fabrizio was absolutely on the same page as Michèle. They both wanted it. They both saw this opportunity.
We had the same thing in our mind, and was to win.
We had few stages to do, and suddenly we heard the noise on the car. Oof. And at first I thought it was the engine, and then, no, I put my foot on the brake, and the pedal went all the way down. From the 3 minutes I was leading, suddenly I was only 32 seconds leading. I was completely down, and I felt that all my effort, you know, during these 4 difficult days were for nothing.
At this stage, it was a 2-horse race, and Ari Vatanen was second.
Ari Vatanen was one of this breed of flying Finns. He was favourite to win. What Ari Vatanen didn't need was a girl getting in his way.
He'd said before the start of the event that he would not be beaten by a woman.
He said, you know, the day I will be beaten by a woman, I will stop racing.
If I've said that, I apologize. But okay, I could have said, you know, as a joke, and now it has become. I don't know if I really said that. I apologize to Michèle if I did that. Yeah, sure. Her speed took me and everybody else by surprise. It put our masculine pride on a test.
We arrived in Sanremo. Of course, we were back on asphalt, where Ari's car was better than my car. So I knew that 30 seconds was really little. And for Ari, I knew that he was going for it and he will not let me win.
I am not so sure, because we have not a car for asphalt, and they have a car for asphalt.
À Sanremo, la pression était forte, très forte. D'ailleurs, nous, on était tous angoissés. Je revois encore son père.
You know, during that day, we sleep because the previous night we have been driving, and the rally starts in the evening.
Instead of going to sleep, we took a normal car and we went to check all my notes in this long stage again. How I had the strength after those 5 exhausting days to go straight away to practice for one more stage, I don't know.
The strength of Michèle was her character. She was very demanding with everybody, with me, with the team, but with herself too.
And then, impossible to fall asleep. Your nerves are going over, and you want to sleep and you cannot sleep. Trying to cope with all this pressure, I even started to cry. And then at the same time, you think, no, I cannot give up now. The goal is there. I mean, you can win, you can be there. When I woke up, suddenly, my view of the situation was completely different. Suddenly, everything was more clear, you know? I knew that going with the pressure is when you make your mistake. And I said, Fabrice, so we will not make the mistake in this stage. So we will start mentally like if it was the first stage of the rally.
Maybe in the back of my mind, I thought like, Michèle would be easier to beat than for example, Hanno. In a way, you try not to think about it. You just go for it.
When you go flat out, you can make a mistake. And in Sanremo, mistakes are each corner waiting for you.
There was a long left-hand corner on a tarmac, and I was so close to the wall. Just touched my tire and bent my steering, and there we are. The bubble had burst.
There was no doubting the domination in the heat and dust of North Italy, but Michèle Mouton's consistent performance gave her the first ever win by a lady driver in a World Championship rally.
It was just unbelievable. It's a very great moment that you remember in your career.
In your own country, oof, too much. It was just too much for me.
At that time, she had awoken the entire rally world by her speed.
The first ever woman winning a World Rally Championship event. If anybody had still some doubts, then they had gone.
For me, I was more proud about my result than really as a woman winning for the first time. I mean, this really I didn't think at all.
That was quite something. Nobody ever dreamed of something like that. And you see all this crew of all these cars. I remember with my mother going there. We say, holy cow, all this for Michèle.
Et vous pensiez qu'un jour, elle serait parmi les meilleurs pilotes du monde?
Oh non, j'étais loin de penser une chose pareille. Je la voyais progresser, je voyais que parmi les concurrents avec qui elle avait affaire, elle se situait bien, mais je ne pensais pas qu'elle arrive à un tel niveau, non.
Et vous, Madame Mouton, c'est ce que vous aviez rêvé pour votre fille, une telle carrière, un tel métier?
Non. Je ne pensais jamais qu'elle puisse faire ça. Hein, c'est venu comme accidentellement un peu.
Vous l'avez encouragée ou au contraire, vous avez essayé de freiner sa carrière?
Oh non, plutôt encouragée, je crois. Ça nous plaisait aussi, on la suivait, ça nous faisait un but, je sais pas.
When I won Sanremo, it was a so big surprise, you know. For Audi, for sure, it was the first victory, was incredible. They didn't think they will be able to win.
If you look back at the original contract, it was a promotional contract to put a lady in the seat. Now suddenly here she was winning rallies. This was above and beyond what Audi had expected.
They were very happy. We had to sign thousands of autographs.
It was a big news.
The newspapers were full of Michèle Mouton being as good as male driver. It's a sensation.
Suddenly it was, you know, a lot of press, media.
To sell more cars, they need publicity.
I could understand, but naturally I didn't like that. It was really too much for me.
Some journalists told me that we were, both of us, quite attractive. I could smash the man saying this.
I was fed up to hear that it was a woman who won.
We felt like drivers, not woman drivers.
It was end of the season to sign for the New Year's. The lawyers were there. I sit at the table and they say, okay, so we have the same contract for next year. I said, no. It's very, very simple. You just have to double it. ...1982 was a very important year for Audi.
The investment that Audi would have made would have been huge to develop this car, and they'd come through 81 with some success, but 82, it was time to deliver. They needed to win the championship.
I was feeling stronger as a driver. We were all very positive and very ready for the future.
Monte is traditionally the starting place for every World Championship campaign, and it is one of the absolute famous events that manufacturers really wanted to win.
Now, the biggest competition was the Lancia team and Opel also with Walter Röhrl.
They were confronted by Walter Röhrl. He's known as the computer. He's an incredibly deep thinker.
First of all, when I have done sports, it was always one aim. I want to be perfect.
He understood that Audi had the upper hand with this four-wheel drive car, so he knew consistency was key.
Walter was really, I think, ready for showing that he could win with Opel Ascona. We have a lot of respect for each other, I think. You know, it's my home rally, you know, so you always want to do well.
I think rally driving, that is really car driving. On race driving, you need your elbows, you know. In rally driving, it's very fair. Everybody is going just alone getting the watch, and the best one will win.
In the first stages, we were among the three best, but Monte Carlo is very special. You can practice and it's completely dry, and suddenly it's full of snow. I took the corner full speed, like if it was no ice, and it was very violent shock, you know, and some concussion for Fabrice, and for me, I have really some twist leg. And the 82 season, it started very badly for me.
It was Walter's event, you know, he mastered it brilliantly. And he drove a brilliant rally, you know, a really clever, tactical, superb approach to the event, picked the right tyres at the right time and won.
You know, you are driving with a risk on your head, and this is the challenge. So many drivers was broken the ribs, broken the spine. There is a lot of accident. The privilege of being young is that you don't fear anything. In reality, you cannot change anything. I believe in fate, for sure, for sure. What is written, no?
One rally that I really love is Portugal. But in Portugal, there is a huge problem that is public. So much public.
Right behind him, and a hot favourite for victory, is the leading Audi Quattro of Hannu Mikkola. Michèle Mouton, Mikkola's attractive French teammate, takes the opportunity of warming up her racing tyres.
Portugal is one of the most technically difficult rallies in Europe. You know, lots of corners over crests. There's no natural flow to the road. You can't read the road.
Portugal, the battle was the road and the crowd, really.
Well, rallying has always been every man's sport. It's free of charge. Your entire family can go wherever in the forest you want to go to. You can be a few meters from the cars.
Rallying had always been popular historically in Portugal, and in the 70s and 80s, it just went through the roof. These fans, they couldn't envisage that the drivers were ever going to get it wrong.
They all wanted to be close to the cars. They wanted to be part of the action.
Fans would be trying to touch the cars as they went through at, you know, these insane speeds. The mechanics would have to fish fingers out from where they'd been ripped off the spectators' hands.
It was madness. It was stupid. It was crazy. But in those days, it just seemed to drive the popularity of the sport on. I don't know why.
Fortunately, there were no serious injuries here.
I mean, when you have to drive through those conditions with people everywhere, first you are scared. Then you get used because they are there all the time. And at the end, to go fast, you have to consider that they are like trees, really.
To go fast in Portugal, you need not to see the people. If you start to sing, you go home.
If you want to win, you have to be the fastest one. But at the same time, you know that you are not allowed to do a mistake because you will kill 20 persons at least. What we are able to do, you cannot think about danger, you cannot think about death, you cannot think about anything. You just have to concentrate on this famous limit, being on the edge of the razor, you know, and you are not allowed to go off.
There is downhill 200 meters. There are big trees, big like this, they're not moving 1 centimeter. You will destroy your car and your life. We were living with the death. And if you think about it, you cannot do a good job.
Ses parents étaient sur tous les rallyes. C'est sûr qu'on était inquiets. Mais on avait confiance en elle. Plus elle a avancé dans la hiérarchie, plus les voitures étaient puissantes. La peur était omniprésente, omniprésente.
En bas, tu vois?
En bas, tu vois rien.
Rien. Et puis ça monte.
Ici.
If you speak about Arganil, everybody will tell you fog. It was mainly sure that we will have fog in this stage. With Fabrice, it was like something unbelievable, the feeling. I had the feeling that I could see. I knew exactly the corner according to what she was saying.
The difficult to co-drive is to say the pace notes in the good moment in which the driver mind is free to understand the note. Not before, not after.
She has to guess with her body. She guesses where you are in the left, right corner. There is moments like this where, you know, everything is perfect, everything is the way you feel the car. Even if she was saying a note, I was going even faster than the note that I could hear.
In Arganil, we were flying without seeing anything. Walter was started 1 minute in front.
In the fog, you can see the red light on the back of the car, and I couldn't believe, you know, I thought he had a problem.
She could see Walter ahead, and she would have known immediately that she'd taken a minute out of him because she started a minute behind him.
And we won Portugal practically in Arganil. It was incredible what Michèle did.
She won by nearly 14 minutes. And once again, she showed. She was cut from exactly the same cloth as the likes of Hannu Mikkola and Ari Vatanen.
For Michèle Mouton and her equally charming co-driver Fabrizia Pons, a second World Championship triumph in only 6 months. This one in Portugal after a superbly judged tactical drive. No wonder the whole world loves Michèle. All that brain power and beauty too.
Suddenly, you know, she was beginning to build some momentum in terms of a championship challenge.
I'm sure for Audi it was also a surprise. I was suddenly having good result. For Audi must have been something, you know, to think of what to do.
C'est tout pour nous, ça? Nothing for you, Anu. Sorry.
Of course, 82 was given for Michèle Mouton to help her to be world champion.
C'est du saumon, c'est pas du loup.
We all had this team spirit, you know. We wanted Audi to win, and this was very strong.
To be in with a chance of winning that is pretty phenomenal. To then add to it the fact that you're a number 2 driver and you're female, it's another level.
Vous vivez dans l'ombre de votre femme qui est une vedette. Est-ce que c'est pas un peu frustrant pour un homme?
Non, je ne considère pas ça frustrant. Je considère ça même comme très drôle. Je me vois mal, moi, en train de dire à Michèle, arrête, je n'ai pas le droit d'empêcher une carrière comme ça. C'est un cas unique au monde et je ne me sens pas le droit, et je n'en ai d'ailleurs aucune envie, d'arrêter une carrière comme ça, quels que soient les aléas qu'elle comporte.
You know, our relationship, I was always away. I mean, rallying like we do in the World Championship, you are away 300 days a year. So it's not so much left for your own time.
Je crois que dans une vie, il y a des choix à faire. Et je pense qu'à 20 ans, le choix le plus important, c'était non pas d'avoir déjà des enfants. Ça ne faisait pas l'ombre d'un doute que j'allais me lancer à fond dans ça. Donc, ce n'est pas un regret du tout, parce que je pense qu'il n'est pas trop tard pour avoir des enfants. In più, cioè, è inutile che lo dica io adesso, ma è una pilota eccezionale. Abbiamo migliorato tutte e due moltissimo ed il bello di Michèle è proprio questo, che non è a un punto fisso nella sua fase di apprendere, del guidare, ma è sempre in ascesa e tutti si stanno chiedendo fin dove può arrivare.
During the year, it was growing up this fight with Michèle.
By now, it was a two-horse race, and it took some time for the watching world to actually get their head around the fact that, crikey, it was all about Michèle versus Walter.
Everybody was, of course, pushing, and I was under pressure. And I said, I don't like to be the first man to lose against a girl. I am not diplomatic, I just tell what I'm thinking. I don't like to be beaten by a small girl from France. Of course, at this time, you know, rally driving was a sport for men, not for women, basta.
It's not a problem. I don't think about him. Why you want I think about him? I think about myself and it's enough. You know, I have no time to think about him. He can do what he wants, you know. It's not, it's everybody think for himself, not for the other one.
I said, if you put a monkey in an Audi, he will go much faster uphill than me.
I didn't mind. I mean, he could say what he wants. Still, you have two other drivers in the team and with the same car, and you have to beat them. All the comments, they never touched me. They never destabilized me. I just wanted to win for the team.
The challenge of the Acropolis Rally is the terrain. It's run across some of the rockiest, roughest roads in Europe. It's known as a sort of European safari.
Rain has made the rally route uncharacteristically muddy. Drivers have to pick their way around exposed rocks and stones.
Already, this rally is all about Michèle Mouton and the second Audi Quattro. And with driving like this, it's not surprising.
Unbelievable rally, you know. The heat was crazy. In the Quattro, it was 50 degrees in the car. I was losing between 2 and 3 kilos for every 3,000 kilometers. You have no time to drink or to eat or to go to the toilets. It was really tough.
I mean, you need to take your overall down. You need to find a place where you pee. Men, they just turn and they do. And me? So, I was learning not to drink. Easy.
And then you arrive end of the stage and you even cannot talk, you are thirsty and the photographer say, can you smile? I mean, I could have killed those people, you know. So of course, I had the reputation of having a bad character on top of being a woman.
I think it's mainly the way she stares at people. She's able to kill you with her eyes.
Michèle est calme.
Dis-le. Dis-le que
Pas tout à fait.
Michèle Mouton has taken the lead in her Audi Quattro ahead of Henry Toivonen and the other works Opel.
You're happy?
Yes, sure.
Do you know how far behind Michèle you are?
I feel like about 1.5 minutes.
You can catch her up tomorrow?
No way. The ladies are too fast nowadays.
The last bend of the 1982 Acropolis Rally, and Michèle Mouton storms to victory.
Winning Greece was really, it was unbelievable. You start to think, wow, I won Sanremo, I won Portugal, I won Greece. you feel stronger, you feel much higher confidence in yourself and in the team and in your co-driver, and it's a very exciting time.
Walter, contento?
Sì, io arrivi secondo dopo un Audi 4 del beste risultato maximum.
The penultimate rally was Ivory Coast. Of course, we knew that if I was winning Ivory Coast, I just had to finish the RSC rally in England and I could win the title.
Every event in Africa I don't like, but I had no chance against Michèle because in the four-wheel-driven car, Audi was a big favorite.
I think that Walter was not happy at all because he loves to drive where he can win.
I think we were all supporting Michèle.
I am too realistic to dream. And so I was not dreaming that I could become world champion. I knew it was a possibility, but not like suddenly thinking, I can be world champion. No, this is not Michèle Mouton. First, you have to do the job, and then you realize if you did something good or not.
Ivory Coast it's wild, it's nature, it's in the jungle. The roads are incredibly muddy and slippy and treacherous, and it's a massively, massively demanding event.
Of course, the situation went a little bit different the morning of the start. At 7 o'clock, I got a phone call from Claude. He told me my father, he died. Really, it was a big shock. So I was, of course, devastated, and I wanted just to go back home. Suddenly, it was like a blackout. For me, it was clear I had to leave, and I was ready to leave, ready.
Le traitement, il était en concert, en traitement depuis un mois et demi. Alors qu'elle était en reconnaissance au rallye de Côte d'Ivoire, l'état de son père s'est brusquement aggravé et il est mort chez lui. Donc Michèle, le souffle coupé, quoi, s'y attendait pas.
Everything I did was because of him, and suddenly he was not there anymore. And so losing him was really difficult.
My opinion was, who cares about the championship? Go home, your mother needs you.
My mother talked to me and she said, your father will never like that you stop for him.
C'est ta volonté, hein, je ne oppose pas. Si tu continues, tu peux continuer, ce serait une belle façon de rendre hommage à ton père.
But then, of course, I understood, and so then you have to swallow everything and try to start the rally. And it was really difficult. And then I said that to Fabrice, and I said, I don't want anybody in the team to know, because I didn't feel strong enough. Normally, I like to suffer in silence.
The event started perfectly for Michèle, and she did manage to put all of that news to one side, and she set out at great pace and built, a huge lead, 25-minute lead.
Of course, it has not been easy at all, but I have started to concentrate on what I have to do.
Michèle Mouton, of course, was terrible. I did my best, but was not easy at all, because what you can say.
Fabricia helped me a lot. Sometimes I remember in some places I was crying. And you know, she's very close to me when you have the helmet on and you can hear everything. She has been very strong and very, very helpful.
So 1 hour before Walter Röll, so there was no doubt about it. Take it easy, make it easy.
Suddenly, I could feel my gearbox had some problem, but just the beginning. And I think we were supposed to change the gearbox in 20 minutes, and it went wrong. It took more than 40 minutes.
I think anybody sitting on an hour and 20-minute lead would have changed the gearbox, because potentially a gearbox failure could cost you the rally.
Michèle, maintenant.
Laissez-les travailler. Go, on se recule.
And then, when I went back in the car, no clutch.
We changed the gearbox and the clutch was not working.
And I have the two mechanics in front of me and I am screaming, doesn't work, it doesn't work.
At the beginning, she was 1 hour in front of me, and then I was coming up 50 minutes, 40, 30, 20, 10.
I mean, suddenly you see all your time going down, and of course you are frustrated, but what to do? I mean, you know, they made a mistake, they made a mistake.
Having been more than an hour ahead, she went out for the final day behind Walter.
Of course, I remember I was, you know, so mad about all what happened that I want to do it for my father. And I felt it was really something that I will lose, you know, not by my mistake.
Yes, come on. Yeah, we lost 5 minutes for you yesterday. Hey,
I started to attack a little bit. Fabrice had given me a note.
There was a long straight and a sharp left at the end. We were too fast then.
That was really a big, big disaster. You are out of the race.
So at the end, I also did the mistake after this accumulation of circumstances.
I mean, when we realized, personally, I was crying. I was crying.
Everybody was crying. Walter was the champion.
The title, it was really never in my mind, I think, at that time. For me, the only goal was, I do it for my father.
It was over. It was a pity, you know. If she finished, she would be world champion. But life is something very hard. It is, and for me it was lucky, of course.
In my opinion, for me, she is world champion. But that's life, and we cannot change it.
After that, I flew directly back home, and my mother told me that they will be waiting for me for the funerals, and so I arrived there, but I was not strong enough to go and see him in the coffin. When I left 15 days before, he was washing his car. I have the image. And when I came back, I didn't want to see him. You know, I wanted to keep this image of him washing his car. I remember I gave him my gloves. The loss of my father was incredible at that time. You know, for me it was everything. I mean, and I was young, and it was the first shock in my life for sure. Because suddenly you realize that, you know, to be well known, to be a glory, to be rich, to be everything, what it means in life. You know, it's love who is most important, and when you lose the person who is your hero, because my father was my hero, the rest is not important. But he left with the feeling that I will win. Through me, he lived his own dream, and so at least I have achieved that, and I know he was very proud.
La mort de son père, c'est comme une coquille d'œuf qui s'est brisée. Et là, Michèle a changé.
It made me feel, what about our relationship? You know, if I want a family, is he the right person? And start to think about all that.
Et elle a probablement joué un rôle dans la fin.
The 83 season went well for the team and for Audi, because Hannu was world champion. For me, it was a little bit disappointing season. You know, you have a season with luck, and so a season where you don't have so much luck. So when we heard that Walter will join the team, I was a bit disappointed.
Through 83, the feeling in Audi was that Walter was a quicker driver and potentially more consistent.
With Hannu and Stig, we have really a fantastic atmosphere between the three of us. When Walter arrived, then it was, you know, the team was really apart.
Actually, I don't know why they needed Walter. I don't know. I have not a clue.
It was, to be honest, a little bit against my opinion. But it was the opinion of Audi. Audi is in Bavaria. Walter Röhrl is Bavaria. He should be in our team.
My personal opinion is that Audi probably got the publicity they wanted from an all-female team, and they need to change their image. And so Walter came.
Walter was arriving in the team. I felt, you know, it was, I really felt we were too many, you know. Like if you feel you are not needed anymore.
If you are a rally driver, and if you are in a team, you must be the leader. Otherwise, forget it.
Michèle didn't get a full program. For the first time in 9 years, she didn't do Monte Carlo. It would have been hard for her to take because she had delivered for them. It's cutthroat and it's ruthless, but it's what the sport's all about.
Business is business. So either you accept and you do what they tell you to do, or you don't and you go.
This is the Audi Quattro and is usually in the hands of one of the fastest people in the world on four wheels. Welcome to After Hours, Michèle. This way. I'm shocked to see you so petite. Why is it that you, a sweet girl, can drive this huge car so well?
To drive a car is not necessary to be a man. I mean, the quality you need to drive a car can be very feminine.
I mean, once you started to drive well, they couldn't say anything, presumably.
Still, I don't know if they accept it completely. I'm sure forever they will never accept it, really.
In the height of the mid-80s, the World Rally Championship was rivaling Formula One for popularity. It absolutely fired the imagination of everybody out there. We were dealing now with Formula One levels of power in the forest. They were running on rocket fuel.
They were total and unbelievable fire-breathing beasts. And they just got faster and faster. 500, 600 brake horsepower. They just oozed macho, but they were a handful.
In '85, Audi wanted to develop the market, in America. And we have to go to do this famous hill climb in Colorado, Pikes Peak. We didn't know about this race in Europe, about the reputation of Pikes Peak.
It's part of American motorsport fabric. It's an institution. The big saying in Colorado Springs is the mountain decides. Who's going to win? The mountain decides.
A family celebration reaching across the generations. Passing unnoticed among the crowd, a world-class rally driver, Michèle Mouton.
You are again in the men's world and really macho people. I can say those one have been really macho people. It was the first time they saw a rally car, a turbocharged engine, a first European, and on top of that, a woman.
While Mouton is trying to set a new course record in her rally car, a dozen or more seasoned hill climb veterans and their open-wheel racers will be determined to see that she doesn't.
I think she's really neat, and I think she's pretty brave to go against all these guys and stuff.
After the first day of the testing, my times were already very, very good. They realized that this woman is arriving with something special for them.
When we're sitting there lagging with our wheels spinning, she's going to be going forward. And I predicted that she probably will beat Audrina's record, so we've already started working on stuff.
All right, thank you, Bobby.
Thank you.
During the practice training, I was caught with excess speeding. They give you a time penalty. They wanted to slow me down, for sure, for clear.
Watch our conduct here in the pit. It's been a problem. I think we got the problem worked out.
We're getting close to race time. How do you feel as the start time approaches?
The only problem we have now is just to try to make no mistake from the start to the top, This is the only problem I have. Try to be perfect.
Michèle Mouton has walked to the start line because of pit driving violations earlier in the week. Despite the controversy, she was ready to drive.
Pikes Peak is all about the start. It's what you call a flying start, that you can build up a lot of speed. So Michèle was essentially going from a standing start.
I thought to myself, poor guys, you will see. Because this gives me a boost like never in my life. Never I will lose this race. It's impossible.
At 95 miles an hour in that four-wheel drive Audi Sport Quattro.
And still I went flat out because I didn't want to lose anything. And those famous four corners there, where the middle one, you have to lift a little bit because it's not flat out completely. I decided not to lift. So I pushed the throttle even more. And I was sure that we were going off. And when I realized it continued, I swear the next corner there, I even braked later. I was so determined. You don't fear. If not, for sure you will not win.
Bravery is needed, and even physical force is needed, and stamina is needed. But Michèle, she was able to tame those monsters.
Mouton hit 97 miles an hour at 16 Mile and reached the top faster than anyone in the history of the hill climb. 11 minutes, 25.30 seconds.
It was really something like a shock for them, huh? You know, big American thinking that they are the best in the world, and I was so happy that I could shut their mouths. Up to now, I'm still the only one.
For Hardy and for everybody in the team, it's a very good result. We are very, very happy.
Au haut de Pikes Peak, il y a une plaque en marbre avec les 60 vainqueurs. C'est la seule femme qui est dessus.
This Audi story, we needed to end it somehow. And this was a good way to end it.
Once I had stopped, it was finished. It's like if I have never done that before. From the beginning, I had always in my mind that one day I will stop for my personal life.
I was a journalist. I've heard about her, but I didn't know really what she looked like. All of a sudden, this dark girl walks by and I said, wow. She was very feminine, very nice girl. I wouldn't have imagined her behind a 500 horsepower rally car at all. I asked her to marry me the first night, and she laughed it off.
So I thought this really handsome Swedish man with blue eyes was completely crazy, and so of course a relation started. But Frederick was very young compared to me, because we celebrate his 20th birthday when I was 32. So I said, okay, this is not a story who will last very long. But then, you know, we were really in love, and then you say, why not? Started to enjoy a little bit more life, and on the top of the world. Suddenly you met the right person and you want to build a family.
Michèle said, Fabrizia, I have to tell you something. I am pregnant. I am waiting a baby. I said, Michèle, you will not believe it. I am pregnant too.
Je m'appelle Jessie Johnson.
So we were having the first baby at the same time.
When she did it and won those rallies, 81, 82, it was kind of like, wow, Michèle Mouton's a female's won a world rally. That was like the watershed moment. That was the opening of the floodgates. The world's changing. Who's going to be the next one? We thought it was incredible what she did then. For me now, it's even more incredible because no one's ever emulated it.
Michèle is the only one, still the only woman to have set a fastest time in the World Rally Championship, to have led a World Rally, to have won a World Rally.
Near enough 40 years on, no one's got near, not even close.
Of course, somewhere in my mind, I would love to see another woman succeeding like I did, but it's not easy. It's not easy. If I had won the world title, I think, first of all, I would have been so happy myself. Of course, it would have been a huge publicity and maybe encouraging more women to participate. But you don't know, history is history, and that's all.
She printed her name in the history of rallying, in the history of motorsport.
She competed on the same cars, on the same tracks as the men, and beat them. And I think that's something that very few women has managed to do in any sport.
Her legacy is empowering women, awakening us men, how we should be ashamed, sometimes how we underestimate women.
Michèle, in her blood, she was born to be a rally driver, definitely.
For me, it is like Mozart. Maybe we have to wait another 100 years to have such female driver once again.
The World Championship title is not the most important thing. 20, 30 years, my name will be forgotten, but not the name from Michèle, because people will realize that was something special.
No, I don't have nothing here, but maybe there. This is a small part of the cups I have. Michèle and myself, we are still friends now. We phone each other time by time. We see each other when we can. 82, Portugal. It's always, always a pleasure. Because we were living 5 years, unbelievable 5 years together. It's old, isn't it?
So this one is up. Oh, it's a big one. It's a big one. Oh. Yep. I think this one must be, yeah, it's Portugal, 82. Yeah, this is Portugal, you know. I am not feeling like exposing all that in my house. You know, everything is for me, so it's in my mind. I don't need to see them every day. This one is Pikes Peak. It's gone, it's finished. It's yesterday. Really, what I want is to enjoy today. Bye-bye, cups. Un petit sourire. Voilà.
Of course, I'm proud of what she achieved, I think. I think I'm proud that my mother did something differently and can be remembered as someone who didn't follow the easy path.
Granny was the racing driver.
Mamie Vroom Vroom, mais qui c'est Mamie Vroom? Being grandmother is a new role, and I enjoy it very much. And I try to get maximum time I can to enjoy their presence, and it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Tu vas prendre une lavande? I just hope that I can live long enough to see them growing from young children to young ladies, and to follow the way they decide to live. And I hope they follow their dream the best way possible. Où tu vas? Donne à mamie la main.